So like I said, we're right back, and we'll talk right into it. Okay, so what happened at Touchdown Atlantic at St. Mary's, okay? Okay, and thanks again, the church brewery in the end zone. I mean, it was great, over 11,555 sold out. It was great. It looked good on camera and everything. I was proud to be a Haligonian, and of course I love the CFL. But anyway, so I'm so glad I had this hat on when I went with Mr. Dick. So we talked for about 15 minutes or so. I'm not kidding you. And he was busy, but I sparked his interest. And so basically, I basically told him straight up. I said, was it because of ego that my CFL Red Zone rule, because Randy Ambrosi said he was going to present it to the new CFL Innovative Rules Committee, which I understand now from him, it's just, he said the CFL Rules Committee, so I don't know if they actually put that CFL Innovation Rules Committee together that Mr. Ambrosi said they were trying to put together. So maybe it was just a CFL Rules, maybe they do have it in place. I never really asked them, that direct question, but he said the CFL Rules Committee ultimately makes the final decision. So I know who's on the CFL Rules Committee, by the way, and not this session, sorry, but the next session, I'm going to go over who's on that, and if I could get one or two on that CFL Rules Committee, if I could somehow get my rule to them and get to talk to them and sell them on my rule, I think it would fly. But anyway, I think what happened at St. Mary's at Touchdown Atlantic on last Saturday, meeting Mr. Dick, was a really good thing for my CFL Red Zone rule, and I'll tell you why. Because I had an opportunity to basically, like in a nutshell, go over my rule, because he didn't even look at it probably. He basically admitted it, actually, that he didn't know anything about it. And so I'm going to send, I told him I'm going to send him, I have his email address, I'm going to send it over to him, and I'm going to send him my summary too. I even got a better presentation. And anyway, so I said to him, was it because of ego that Mr. Ambrosi and yourself and the CFL pushed my CFL Red Zone rule aside, because I told him that it blows the hash mark rule out of the water. Out of the water. And he says, no, it wasn't me, it wasn't Mr. Ambrosi. Mr. Ambrosi actually was interested in your rule, and he sent it, that's why he sent it to me. But he says, he admitted to me that he will take the time this time to really focus on, especially after what I told him. I'll tell you more what I told him in relation to my rule and what it can do. So, like he says, no, it wasn't us. It was the CFL Rules Committee. And the thing is, did it really get to the CFL? So, did it really get to the CFL Rules Committee? And if it did, it's them that are jealous of it, and it's their ego, because I said there's a lot of ego in the CFL Rules Committee. He never said there wasn't, and he never said there was. I said that's why I believe, because I told him that Steve Armitage told me, and I said endorse my CFL Red Zone rule. I said, he is the 27 Grey Cups, he's a sports legend and icon, Canadian sports legend and icon, and I said the only way possible, he told me, that my CFL Red Zone rule doesn't get adopted, because he said there's so much ammunition. I told him, I said my 10 super features and benefits and all the justifiable advantages of adopting my rule, and I said the 18% guarantee, and I said all the stunning numbers, and I said and what it can do. I said it's overwhelming. It sells itself. I said Steve Arms said the only way it could not be adopted is because the CFL, it's not their baby and didn't come up with themselves. And because of ego and because of jealousy, is that the only way? I mean, he never said, he didn't say, no, that's not the reason. He didn't. He'd listen, because I know I'm right. And he knows I'm right. And he knows what's going on. He knows there's a lot of ego. And the CFL Rules Committee, and he admitted, he didn't say there wasn't. And I said, because I'm a CFL fan. I said, if it would have been the CFL that come up with it, it would be adopted by now. And he just kept listening and saying, and then because he knew I was right. And then he said to me, Spider, where are you from? And this was good, he did. Because you know why? I said, from Halifax. And that made it even more impactful, my conversation, because I'm from Halifax. And they're trying to get a new CFL team in Halifax, a 10th team. And you can imagine they adopted my SPYDER CFL Red Zone rule. And I took my hat off again, and I said, which I'm gonna, when I send him an email back, I'm gonna say that, just the opposite of that, because of the St. Mary's quarterback, Justin Patterson, what he said about Spiders, CFL Red Zone rule, and Spiders should stay. And I said, look, I took my hat off and I showed Mr. Dick, I said, look, there, it's yours. See if it does not look good, the logo, I said, CFL Red Zone rule. I said, take your spiders away, it's yours. I said, and by the way, but when I send him an email, I'm going to send him an email and tell him what I'm going to be sending him, what it entails all, and the summary and so forth, and the recap on my CFL Red Zone, and then my latest presentation, and photos, and so forth. Justin Patterson, I'm going to say what he said. I'm going to tell Mr. Dick what he said. No, don't take the spiders away. No way. He said, that's branding. That's catchy. To generate the younger generation fans. It sounds better, Spider CFL Red Zone rule, than just CFL Red Zone rule. He says, no, don't do it. He was really intrigued, and he was blown away by that. He loved the spiders like logo, so Spider CFL Red Zone rule. So I'm going to tell him about that. Okay, and I didn't tell him the St. Mary's quarterback said that he was blown away, so to make our CFL game way better. But I did say, I did have an opportunity to tell him. I mean, we're standing there, just him and I, right? He had a black CFL Red Zone rule hat, type Mr. Dick, and he was a VP of football operations. And he mentioned Hacker, what's his name, Hacker? Something, name that he is. And I said, I don't think he likes me very much, but that I was wrong there. I have to correct that when I send him an email before I send him what I told him to send him. That he said he would get really involved and dig into this time and to really know it. And I said, listen, I'm the inventor, and you can ask me questions. Who knows it better than me? I invented it. I told him about my survey too, how I come up with it, where I did a survey, 3.5-year survey. Okay, and why so many Canadians, okay, only watch the NFL and not watch their own brand of CFL 3.5 football in their own country. And I told them as well too that the complaints, and I said that there's too much kicking, too many field goals, which is magnifying the red zone, and I said and too many field goals for points, and too many easy chip shot field goals because of 2-down football stops in the red zone that are non-eventful. I said, and I told him that my Spiders CFL Red Zone rule, I kept pointing to it, I said, we'll eliminate the 2 biggest turnoffs and killers of our CFL 3-down game in the red zone. That being 2-down football stops with fans booing. All the time they're booing. I said that Crum used my Spiders CFL Red Zone rule in Ottawa when they come back and won. And I mean, he didn't score, but he used it. He went for it twice in 3rd down. I said, it's there now, but it's an enforcement rule. It takes it from, like I said, just like your 2-point convert in overtime is enforced, but it takes it to a whole new level. I said it's a winner. I said it's a game changer. I was saying all this to him. I said because it kills the 2 biggest killers of our CFL 3-down game in the red zone. That being 2nd down, boring 2nd down, 2 football stops in the red zone, resulting in more boring, non-eventful, predictable, easy chip shot field goals in the red zone. I said, completely gone. I said, how powerful, how big would that be for a CFL 3-down game? He allowed me to go. He was looking at me and actually smiling. Because he really didn't even look into it. He didn't even know anything about it, even though Randy Ambrose sent it over to him. So I think he was just firstly discovering it, because I'm sure the CFL Rules Committee, because their ego, like I said, because it wasn't their baby, they didn't come up with it. That's why they pushed it aside for their hash mark rule, which is an absolute joke. It's a joke. It's an embarrassment. That little gimmicky, little minor alteration does nothing compared to what my CFL Red Zone rule will do. And I told him that Steve Armitage, who's done 27 Grey Cups, is a sports icon and Canadian sports legend, endorsed my CFL Red Zone rule. Then I told him who else did. I said Rob Vanstone of the Regina Leader Pros is a writer for the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. I think you know who he is, I said. Guess what? He sent me an email after the 2021 season. I said, Mr. Dick, and I got really excited here, enthusiastic. You can never be too enthusiastic when you're selling a product, especially my Spider CFL Red Zone rule. And I said, you know what he said? Rob Vanstone said to me by email. He said, Spider, the CFL couldn't write a better script. I said, to prove why your Spider CFL Red Zone rule should be made part of a CFL 3-down game in the 2021 season. I told him that. Then I told him, you know who else? I said, TSN reporter, sports CFL broadcaster, Farhan Laji. I sent it to him and he read everything. My recap, my full latest presentation, my CFL Red Zone role, and he told me, I said, Mr. Dick, you know what he told me? I said, he told me that if it came to a vote, and if he was on the committee, came to a vote, that he would vote to have my SPYDER CFL Red Zone role made part of his CFL 3-down game of football. I said, that's how big my CFL Red Zone role is. Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Like, I got this all in and more. I told him it's tailor-made, it's a natural, and I told him it still preserves our 3-down game. I said, because, and I told him this too, because I wanted to cover it in a nutshell. I wanted him to get all the gist. I wanted him to know about my CFL Red Zone rule kick. So I told him. So I said basically this, in a nutshell. I said, Mr. Dick, so it's very simple. I said, the rule is there now. I said, except with my SPYDER CFL Red Zone rule, is an enforcement rule in the red zone. So I said, on the 20-yard line, from the 20-yard line, I told him about the 20, like my diagram being lined out in red and the 20-yard line being lined out in red. I said they could use graphics, jazz it all up, CFL Red Zone rule and all that. I said, every time a CFL team's in the red zone, the third down's needed. I said it very plainly to him. I said, with my CFL Red Zone role, they'll be playing exciting CFL 3-down football in the red zone to score a touchdown third down. Okay? No more boring when they're 2-down football stops. I said, and I told him this, because the only time they go for it's the 1-yard line. He knows that. And he looked at me in the eye and he, like the nod, he knows that. He knows that. I'm right. And I said, that will be completely eliminated, and non-eventful, boring, easy chip shot field goes completely gone with my SPYDER CFL Red Zone rule. And I said, if they don't score a touchdown, I said, here's what I said before I said that. I said, Mr. Dick, not only is it big offensively, but it also is big defensively, because I'll tell you why. Because if the third down's needed with my SPYDER CFL Red Zone rule, enforcement rule, I kept saying that, enforcement rule on third down, to score a touchdown in the red zone, to play exciting CFL 3-down football on third down in the red zone, okay? If they don't turn the ball over and not are forced outside the red zone on third down, they get my SPYDER CFL Red Zone kick from the 35-yard to 7, from the 42, I said, which is a really challenging kick. I said it even adds even more drama. And I told them the drama and excitement in the red zone would be phenomenal. And with my SPYDER CFL Red Zone role. And I told, like I'm still going, it's probably over 20 minutes I talked to. And I told them that, I said, what's even bigger, okay, I mean, in relation to defensive play in the red zone with my SPYDER CFL Red Zone rule, okay? But, of course, I mean, offensively, those are the big selling features, but defensively, these are the selling features too, because if they stop a CFL team playing my CFL Red Zone rule, I said, in the red zone, on third down, they prevent a touchdown from being scored, okay? But if the CFL team maintains possession of the ball, I said they're not forced outside the red zone, or they'll fumble the ball's not turned over on third down, they kick my SPYDER CFL Red Zone rule kick from the 42-yard line, which is a challenging kick. And it's not 4 downs, he agreed. It's not 4 downs. I said, because it's an enforcement rule. I said, you can't march all the way downfield playing basically 2-down football and get in the red zone, play with my SPYDER CFL Red Zone rule, and come up short and still maintain possession of the ball, whereas the enforcement rule, you're forced to go for it in third down in the red zone with my SPYDER CFL Red Zone rule and not come up at any points. I said, that's why it's solidified. I said, that's why I added it in. I said, and I told him about there's an optional version part 2. I said, it's in my presentation. I said, but I like it playing out on its own, but there's also another part to it, but that would have to be decided by the CFL. They want to implement that. But, you know, I said it works. And I said even bigger defensive play, I said in third down, if a CFL team forces a CFL team in offense outside the red zone third down, playing with my SPYDER CFL Red Zone rule, they don't get to kick my SPYDER CFL Red Zone rule kick. So I said all that, I got that all in, because that's basically it in a nutshell. It maybe takes 5 minutes to explain it, but when I was on that topic, that's what I stayed on, to explain it all. And I said it would be huge for the CFL. I said it would create the biggest amount of buzz around CFL football like never before. I said it's the most innovative, it's the most exciting. I said this too, kept pitching to him, and the most entertaining new CFL rule that could ever be adopted by the CFL in CFL history. I said, and probably of all professional football. So I got all that in to Mr. Dick. I got all that in to Mr. Dick, VP of Football Operations. Okay? And I said, and he's not on the CFL Rules Committee, so he doesn't have a lot to say, but I said, Mr. Dick, I said, you could be a hero. Because he said that, I said, you could be a hero, because he couldn't, even if he was really sold on it, really liked it, which he's going to be, I know he's going to be, because he's a decent guy. He's going to be, when he said he wants to dig into it and really know well. So, and then he will definitely be sold on it big time. And the thing is, he has clout, he does. He's next to basically to Randy Ambrosie. And Randy Ambrosie has not told me that my CFL Red Zone rule is dead. He hasn't told me it's dead. He hasn't. So it's not dead. And after meeting Mr. Dick, I think it's quite alive now. And I'm going to wait probably another week and send it to him. Everything I said I was going to send to him, with a little note to explain about, hey, you got to keep spiders. And I really believe that Duncan Patterson, the St. Mary's quarterback, lefty, is right about that. And I've had other people say that. And I think it's good marketing wise, and for the logo and everything. It's a great looking logo. He even liked the logo with spiders, and that's why he said, "Spider, where are you from?" I told him Halifax. He was blown away. I think he liked that a lot. But so I mean, I just told him it's a winner. It's a game changer, and it would be huge for the CFL if they adopt my CFL Red Zone rule. And then we talked about the stadium a little bit, about St. Mary's, and I said that I told him about my son who was track athlete of the year, ran the 100 at 10.8 seconds at St. Mary's, track athlete year at St. Mary's. And he said, yeah, you're right, Spider, they'd have to use the track. And we got talking about a little bit about what's going on with the Wanderers grounds and how political it is with the CPL and Derek Martin, how Mary Savage didn't do anything. Mary Savage never did anything. I said this, by the way, and he somewhat agreed because it's true, but he never did. And someone said he was there with a hat on or something, some burl hat or something. I don't know. Someone said he would have been booed if he would have announced right out of the stadium. And same with that Wayne Mason, that council, he would have been booed right. And by the way, they can have their Wanderers grounds CPL team. They're not going to be in business in a few years. Then we're going to do with the $20 million they're wasting, which is peanuts, by the way. You know, it's peanuts. That's what they want there. Let them have that. But because St. Mary's is a better situation, I'll tell you why. Because you got to go through all these, you know, these liberal city councilors, radical leftists, liberal city councilors, Black Lives Matter, listen, all lives matter. I'm not prejudiced, but all over our streets and all these druggies, drug tent cities, and druggies in all over streets, and saying they're homeless when they're not, blaming them, Kim use all this stuff. I don't want to get into it. I get so upset. But they can have their Wanderers grounds, okay? Now there's a criminal graffiti all over from all the druggies and preparatory right across the public gardens, which is right across from, who did the public gardens, and by the way, there's druggies in Victoria Park, right across from the Wanderers grounds. Yeah, they can have that over there. St. Mary's, they have a lot of security. They wouldn't be doing that to St. Mary's, but they have the buildings over there, and they have the exchange on the other side, so they're losing 1,500 seats over there. But they have to use a track, and they have to have permanent plumbing, and they have to have permanent water, and they have to have concessions, and they have to have permanent washrooms, okay? And they have to. And better dressing room facilities. They can build. There's a lot of room in the end zone, that end zone where they had the cameraman all the way. They just some great shots. The camera run way up on top of one of those residence buildings, the high rise, way up with the drone with the camera, doing great shots from above. What a great place to shoot. The camera work was fantastic and everything, but they have to use those buildings and with a good architect on the other side. I mean, use a track to go up over the buildings on the other side. And at one time, St. Mary's had a footprint before they built the exchange off the cafeteria, which they never should have recently. That ruined everything. Building 10,000 seats on each side. And I think that was when the buildings were there. I'm not sure. I'd like to know that. But they'd have to use the track, of course. The track would have to go. The track and field program, I don't know what would happen there because it's not really, it's not 8 lane. It's not official. Like, it's 6 and 7. It's weird. So maybe they could build another new track somewhere across from Gorsuch Junior High over there, across from St. Mary's, right across the road. That'd be a perfect place to build it. And everybody could use it. And track and field would get a boost, right? That would be a great thing. But this is ending up being 2 sessions of this, and I'm so glad, because that's what I wanted. And I can then do the last session and maybe get into the names of the CFL Rules Committee and say what I believe is wrong with the CFL and why there's so many empty seats and why the CFL is going down, really looks like it's going down the tubes, declining in popularity like you wouldn't believe, although the demographics from 24 to 54 is going, or 57 is going up by 25%. But listen, they need my SPYDER CFL Red Zone rule. They need it. They need it badly. So I'm going to go over all that and what needs to be done with the CFL. And hopefully I'll look at the names in the CFL Rules Committee and I'll go over that and see which one maybe I could approach. And the next session, okay, after this one. So there's going to be 3 sessions this time. And maybe I need to have 3 sessions, because you know why? Because I haven't done a session for 3 weeks or more. It's not good. And I'm sorry, I apologize for you people, but I think these 2 sessions are very informative. But yes, I mean, St. Mary's, they could do something there. They could put 20,000 seats in there, and they have the end zones too, where they have a much bigger party section, and they could do something in the other end. They have the end zones, and they can build out there. And but I wish something could be built permanently there, you know, big enough. Wouldn't it be something they could build 22,000, 24 seats there, like when they would expand it in the end zone to 28 or 30,000 for a Grey Cup game? Wouldn't that be something? But I think what happened when they built the Exchange cafeteria there, Exchange building out off the cafeteria, they blew the chances, especially in the main side. They could have put a double-decker over there. They blew it. So I don't think it's going to happen. I think maybe a modular, portable, whatever, prefabricated, but they need plumbing, they need water, all that. But a lot of that's there now. The infrastructure is there at St. Mary's. And St. Mary's own St. Mary's. That's not, they own that property. They own the university, not the city, not Mayor Savage and his radical leftist liberals, okay? That's ruining our city, okay? You can have your CPL, okay, 10,000 little seat Mickey Mouse thing over at the Wanderers grounds, but I hope at St. Mary's they do it better and bigger and better. And I think that's a place where it's going to happen. I never thought, I said in my session before, it's impossible, but now I think it is possible. And if the track goes, like Mr. Dick said, the track has to, you know, but they need a new track, and they can't build an 8-lane track there anyway. That's why they didn't. But I think what has to happen, you got to remember, they have a cafeteria, they have a big, nice gym there. They have the new hockey rink that the Saskatchewan Rough Riders was using right by the football field. Not far at all. This is hop, skip, and a jump into there that they came out of. And it's pretty nice, pretty big, because they made another one there, not just for hockey, but they made another one that they can use for football. But the Argonauts came out from the other end where the jumbo screen was that they put on. That was pretty cool. But the party zone, that was pretty. But they could have put more people on the other side. They could have put another 1,000 people there, I think. Anyway, so, but down in that end where the jumbo screen is, there's like around the track, okay? And now if the track went, you'd be using the track, so there'd be even better, there'd be even more room. But back in the back end there, you could build like, there's room there, even in the parking lot area there, but even just off the parking lot, near the field, you can build new dressing rooms and offices there. You could do it, okay? But you got to have bucket seats, my friend. You can't have benches like that. If you're gonna sell tickets, people were in people's seats wouldn't get off. So everybody's sitting in different numbers. That's baloney. You need ushers and you need bucket seats. If you're gonna the temporary modular makeshift stadium, you have to have bucket seats. They're doing it with the CPL modular prefabricated pop-up stadium. You have to have it. They did it in BC when they were fixing up BC place. You have to have the bucket seats, Randy Ambrosi, and the CFL and St. Mary's. But the thing about St. Mary's is that Premier Houston, who's a conservative premier, thank God we have him in there. They're trying to do a number on him, but he's trying his best. And I get it. And he went to St. Mary's, so there's an in there, you know. But Randy Ambrosi, I got to say something for Randy Ambrosi. I know there's a lot of people are trying to crucify him, and want him gone, and can't believe he's still there, that he still have a job. But I got to say, I don't know if it was a desperate move or not, but I shouldn't say that, it's not fair, because he has put a lot of work, I think, into Halifax, into touchdown landing. And by the way, they did a fantastic job. They had more banners there. They had banners, I believe, I don't think they were there last year in Wolfville. There was a bigger stands on that side in St. Mary's than in Wolfville. Because it went up 40 rows, it went up 32 in Wolfville, and 25, it went up 30 and 40 in about 5 sections. But they had banners everywhere. They had dress up, even in the sound stage and the tailgate. They had touchdown landing banner, big banner. They had banners all around. They had a video screen, portable, run alongside the sidelines, and not just a jumbo screen. But so they jazzed it up. They had the mascots there, Saskatchewan and Toronto. They did a great job. The dress up was fantastic. Even coming in the stands when you went out. Okay, the exits, right, and the entrances part, inside the exit, they had touchdown landing banner. Like, and they're still there, by the way. They took everything, and the press boxes are still there, the new ones they put in, on top of the container pair that was there, press box that was there. And no, they did a fantastic job. They really did. And it seemed like there was more room around St. Mary's, too. They did a fantastic job. It was and the security was top-notch. They had their own security, the CFL hired, I believe, and St. Mary's, and it was top-notch, man. There's no foolishness going on there, I'll tell you. And it was easy to get in and out of and everything. It was fantastic. I think that's where it needs to be. I think that's where it's going to happen. And I believe it could happen this fall, even at the Grey Cup they may announce it. And there were apparently with 2 representatives, 2 potential owners there. They were there, and they were seen. And Justin Dunn reported that, it was seen there. So with the CFL and the Parkland Bank that's involved in financing the whole thing, they need $50 million to $60 million to do it there at St. Mary's, where at the Wanderers grounds probably need the same if they would do for a CFL team as well.